Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Richard Strayl, I'm with Randy Roosevelt and Bob Gibson, and we are here at the Yard House once again. This is our tavern on the green where our studios are being finished. And Bob, I'm gonna miss this place, man. I don't know why this can't just be our studio forever.
Well, we're not going to eat as well back in the studio as we've eaten here. I guarantee you that, because the food here is just
and that is
a whole
everything.
nother level.
And that is
right?
everything.
It's all about the food for the reporters. You know how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's get to it, man. We got a lot to cover. CIF baseball, CIF softball. Those are two big monsters right now. Randy's got the LA update. We got some other stuff to talk about. So let's get to it, man. It's right here on the patio. All right, in Division One, let's take a look. We have the final matchup. First of all, it was CYPRESS, who has been pretty much our number one in the in our polls, our top 10. They beat La Mirada 1-0. Wasn't a bad game for the Matadors. Junior starter Michael DeHaro pitched a no-hitter going into the fifth inning. So we had four no-hit innings, and then the wheels kind of came off. Not that he allowed any runs, but they started hitting him. Allowed finally, I believe, 3 hits in that ball game. But a 1-0 win by CYPRESS gets them into the final against our number 3 team. Pretty much most of the season, Harvard-Westlake defeated Huntington Beach 6-2, which is now going to set up a Harvard-Westlake CYPRESS CIF Division One final. And it's good to see, fellas, that, you know, 2 of our top teams made it.
Yeah. I've been on the Harvard-Westlake bandwagon all year. I happened to be at the Huntington Beach game, the 6-2 victory. Credits to Drew Bowser. Bowser went 4 for 4, the shortstop at Harvard-Westlake. This team just battles offensively. I said it before on our last program. A great offensive attack by Harvard-Westlake. Now, CYPRESS might be the perceived favorite, but those Wolverines can really hit the baseball. They knocked out Olu with a dramatic rally in the quarterfinals, then beat Huntington Beach in the semis. This Wolverine team can play for Jared Halpert. He's done a great job with the program.
They're really good, but I like how deep the CYPRESS team is, right? And
right.
they just keep coming at you, right? I mean, they're in a dogfight there with La Mirada. We know what a good matchup it was, and CYPRESS just didn't panic at all, kept going, and then he grind out the 1-0 win. And Rapetti, the pitcher over there, Cameron Rapetti, just what a great job. And I don't know. I like CYPRESS in this matchup. I agree. I think Harvard-Westlake is probably the hotter team coming in right now. And of course, I was talking about being the hot team at the right time.
That's right.
It could be Harvard-Westlake's day to come up and win this championship.
The other factor, and Rich and Bob, and I know you know this, when you go to Dodger Stadium, it's a different game.
Sure.
It's unpredictable. So I don't know if it's going to be CYPRESS or Harvard-Westlake, because neither team have played at Dodger Stadium, and it just changes the complexion of the game. If the catcher misses the ball, it's a deeper backstop. Down the lines, it's a lot different. It's more difficult to hit it out of the yard, obviously, and the gaps are greater in the outfield.
Yeah.
It's a completely different game when you get to Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, but the one thing is you're both playing on the same field, so both teams are going to have the same conditions.
Right.
And so, I don't know, we'll see what the outcome is. It's going to be close. By the way, CYPRESS, Peter Wentworth, he drove in the winning run in the 9th inning. I like the way some of these guys are describing what happened in this ball game. It was a marathon. It went 9 innings. 2 more than it should have, probably. You know, it's not a marathon, all right? A doubleheader is a marathon. 2 extra innings. These guys would still be playing right now if they could. If the game was scoreless, they would have played over. They would have kept going. These players won't give up.
I think if those two teams played 10 times, right, I think all 10 games would go in 9 innings. I really do. I think that was just a great matchup between 2 really, really good teams.
And I just love the level of baseball we're seeing at D1. I mean, I go back to the quarterfinals when Olu got knocked out. They had a 3-1 lead in the bottom of the 7th inning when Harvard-Westlake rallied for 3 and beat them. And that Olu team was tremendous. Yeah. I know, Bob, you thought that was the best team in the CIF Southern section.
I still think they're the best team in D1, but it doesn't matter.
It's right? One and done.
It doesn't matter. You're out.
A lot of it has to do with pitching. Remember, the pitchers can only pitch, once a week, pretty much, and that's it. And when you got your ace out there, once he's done for the week. And you may not get to see him in the next game. So, it's all about matchups, and it's all about what happened the prior week and who can play.
I don't know how many innings Rapetti has left. I know he's going to go, and I think Leboki, who pitched just 1 inning in the semis in relief for Harvard-Westlake, he is their ace, so he will start. But it's interesting. Again, how many innings are left, how many pitches are left is going to determine maybe who wins the game.
And it's really a big part of a baseball strategy for a head coach is trying to make sure those innings are okay getting to that championship. But you got to get to that championship game before you can start worrying about that.
Make me Robbie Wygod for a day, all right? I'll give Robbie a little bit of hair. But I would say, you know what? In the finals, it doesn't matter. Throw anybody. Let your coach pitch if he wants to pitch. Anything goes in the finals, all right? Pretty much does.
Yeah.
But I would say it wouldn't matter to me. It's only one more game and it's your last game of the year, so it really shouldn't matter. Nobody's going to blow out an arm. All right, let's take a look at Division II real quick. Santa Margarita over Redondo 9-1. And in the lower bracket, it was La Cañada 13-2 over Oak Hills, fellas. Great Oak and La Cañada going at it. Great Oak, you know, that's out in the Temecula area, Murrieta Valley area. And, man, those guys, you know, their baseball team is in the finals. Their softball team, I believe, is in the finals.
Yeah,
also.
right. Softball team's also in the
over
D1
there?
final.
CYPRESS too, though. I think the girls softball team's also in the finals, and we know the boys are in the finals at Dodger Stadium. Good matchup between Santa Margarita and check that as we go down.
D2 is Santa Margarita and Norco.
Norco, yeah.
Right, correct. In D2.
And Norco won 4-3. All right, so it makes for a good matchup. But Santa Margarita putting up 9 runs in a semifinal. That's some power. That's some offensive power.
No, that is Santa Margarita. You know, I think they benefit from being in D2 instead of D1, right? They get to come down, but they got to play that Trinity League schedule all season long. That really helps you. And then you go down into D2 and you can really dominate.
They got a great pitcher too in McGuire, and he's going to throw in the championship game, Matt McGuire.
We brought up Great Oak because they're in Division III, so we got a little jumble here. But yeah, Santa Margarita, Norco. Should be a great ball game. Again, offensive power, get some good pitching. Division III, it is Great Oak 3-1 over Yorba Linda. La Cañada 13-2 over Oak Hills. We jumped divisions there. Great Oak, La Cañada in the finals. Look at that, 13-2, Bob.
Yeah,
13 runs in a semifinal is awesome.
That really says something. No, you're right. The bats were hot. Stay hot this time of year.
But that's not even the biggest. That's not even the biggest scoring of the week. That's not even the highest point total of one game in the playoffs. So we'll talk about that in just a second.
Yeah, because nobody will get to that number.
Anyways, La Cañada, Great Oak, again, they will be in Division III. Okay, Division IV, Sonora defeated Canyon Springs 6-5, and then Kennedy defeated Summit 6-4. So there's your final, Sonora and Kennedy. La Habra going up against CYPRESS, another team from the CYPRESS area.
Yep, I mean
Kennedy's actually in La Palma, but it's a neighbor of CYPRESS. They get CYPRESS kids at that high school.
You always say CYPRESS La Palma, right? They always put them together. It's true.
Yeah. Okay, continuing on Division V, Polytechnic 6-2 over Rancho Verde, and Xavier Prep 2-0 over Orange Vista. Polytechnic and Xavier Prep, Bob, I really don't know too much about either one of these teams.
No, and I don't either, but I can tell you this, though. A lot of great baseball comes out of that Pasadena area. So to see Pasadena Poly in there, we know LaSalle and some of those other great teams in that Pasadena area lately, last few years, have been really good. So that's a hotbed of talent, Pasadena, for baseball about the past probably decade, I would say.
So now we go to Bob's hometown as we take a look at Division VI. Costa Mesa 6-0 over Calvary, Murrieta.
See that?
St. Anthony.
Now that shirt's 100 years old.
Lost to Rio Hondo Prep. So we have Costa Mesa, Rio Hondo Prep going to the finals, and here it is. How old is that?
Oh, that shirt's 100 years old.
You got that when you were 21 then.
Yeah, exactly. That's when I played. Costa Mesa High School. Come on now, really? I mean, you're talking about 1962 since they played in the
no moth holes in this thing either,
game.
huh?
Well, there might be a few. I don't know. It's hard to get moth holes and holes in your.
You know, Bob had this thing hermetically sealed in plastic.
when you're on the bench, you don't get these things.
But now it has value.
1962. This is a team that was on a 5-game losing streak. Needed to win their last 2 league games to even make the playoffs. Got on a hot streak somehow in these playoffs, and young Mr. Chapman has been the arm on the mound for them, just throwing bullets. They shut out a team yesterday that had scored 33 runs their game before.
No way. Nobody scored.
Yes.
That's a typo, Bob.
No,
13 maybe.
That team beat El Monte 33-5 the week before. Now, who knows how they put up 33 runs?
Can't they? Isn't there some type of mercy rule,
There's
Bob?
no mercy rule. 33-5, and then Costa Mesa gets them 6-0 yesterday to get to their first CIF championship game since 1962.
33-5.
Even Randy wasn't covering stuff in 1962.
Well, I did do a Simi Valley game many years ago where I think they scored 29 or 30.
33's got to be
no,
a record.
but 33, they didn't quite get to 33.
We're going to check
Pioneers on that day.
Make sure 33's the record.
I think the Pioneers got 30 or 29 the
I'm
day
taking the Mustangs in D6 to win it all.
That's a lot.
That's good, Bob. Well, you would.
Because what do I say? What's my motto? Get hot at the right time, right? And there's a team that was on the skids, won their last 2 to get in, beat Calvary Chapel twice, and now they're the hottest team in the division. Getting hot at the right time. I always preach it.
You're a homer.
Bob, you got Rio Hondo Prep, though, Bob.
That's probably true.
Bob, you got Rio Hondo Prep coming up, though.
Rio Hondo Prep's a good school. They're
Have you
good in a
noticed
lot of things.
All the preps in the academies and the lower divisions are getting to the championship, Bob.
I know it.
I wouldn't look past them. I don't care what this shirt. 21 years. You sure
Don't.
this thing's 40 years old,
You
Bob?
said
It
100.
is. It's 100 years old. It's got to be.
Man,
Costa Mesa High School. Hey, Dan Quisenberry went to Costa Mesa High School. I know that's a name
that belongs in a
everybody
time
remembers.
capsule
Great
somewhere, Bob.
sidearm reliever
Right?
pitcher for the Kansas
Dan
City Royals.
Quisenberry. Brent Maine.
Brent
Also
Maine.
went to
There you
Costa
go,
Mesa
Cal
High
State
School.
Fullerton.
All right, Bob. I think we spent a little more on this one than we probably should have, but Costa Mesa Rio Hondo Prep in Division 6. We didn't mess that one up. Okay, Division 7 now. Arroyo defeated Valley Christian Academy, not Valley Christian of Cerritos. We're talking an academy now. 2-1, and then Marshall defeated Rosemead 12-4, setting up a Marshall and a Royal from El Monte.
Now I know Marshall from the city section. Where is Marshall?
Marshall in the city is downtown L.A.
Right, but
We are Marshall, Bob.
Marshall.
We are Marshall. Come on, man.
Where's
Marshall
this?
and
Randy
Pasadena.
Moss?
Where is this Marshall?
Pasadena.
Pasadena.
Okay, thank you.
See, Bob doesn't get past
I don't know
the
that
county
school.
line. Bob starts sweating once he goes past
But he
Beach
likes
Boulevard.
Pasadena.
And
He
I
was
just
throwing
taught
out
right. Was I just
accolades,
talking
right?
about Pasadena?
He likes the Rose
And I didn't
Parade.
even know that school
And
was
he
in
likes the
Pasadena.
Rose Bowl,
My
but he watches
apologies.
that on TV.
My
Bob
apologies,
does not,
Marshall.
Who
Bob
doesn't
does
like
not
the
go
Rose
west
Parade?
of the Beach Boulevard. He does not.
I don't go to the Rose Parade.
You like Colorado Boulevard? That's in Pasadena. It's a good boulevard.
Good job, Bob.
I like Nebraska Boulevard. No, I don't know.
All right, what do we have here now?
Larry's got a time thing
Our
here for
producer
us.
Larry just came in and handed us.
Oh, man, he did.
What is it?
What is
It's
this?
Calvary Murrieta versus El Monte.
I told you.
33 to 5, Bob.
5. I told you.
Wow.
33 to 5, and then the Mustangs
Thanks,
shut
Larry.
out that same team 6-0.
17 runs in the 6th inning.
What
Come
did I
on, they
tell
didn't have
ya?
any pitching. They were done.
33 to 5, and then they scored 33 and then 0.
Time to bring in your right fielder to
They
pitch.
were exhausted.
They may have been.
They were exhausted.
Wow, that is great. Thanks, Larry. Checking that one out, man.
33. It's got to be a record.
Man,
Got
Bob's
to be
doing
the
some research, huh?
I tell you.
He's into that
He's
run
just not
total.
hanging out at the
Tell
beach
ya.
surfing all day like we thought, you know? All right, let's continue on. That, by the way, that concludes all the boys stuff. We're going to be coming to you from Dodger Stadium, the site of the CIF Southern Section Finals. I believe we're going to have 3 games there coming up, so we'll be there to cover that. Then the following week, we're going to be back over at Dodger Stadium again for the LA City section. Before we get into the softball championships, playoff finals, that is, haven't been played yet. These guys will call me out on it right here and now. I'd like to remind you guys that the SoCal Prep Bowl, it's the first annual SoCal Prep Bowl. It's the former 605 All-Star Football Classic, featuring teams from LA versus Orange County. Slated for June 7th, Pioneer Titan Stadium. That's a brand new stadium, Bob. You love that place.
I know, it's a great place.
Anyways, that's Friday night, June 7th, 7 p.m., sponsored by the U.S. Navy. Be there. Don't miss it. It's going to be good, man. Get to see some really good athletes, Bob, mixing up from LAOC. That's the dividing line now, not the freeway where you got a mixture of LA and Orange County players, just strictly Orange County versus LA.
See, I love it. This is the matchup everybody's been looking for, right? The LA kids and the OC kids, right? Now they get it on. It's going to be fun.
Dan Davidson from Western High School is the head coach for the Orange County team. Derek Bedell of Mayfair High School is the head coach for the Los Angeles team. So looking up for a great matchup.
Oh, that's state champion Western High School, by the way,
Yeah,
to you.
yep. We'll have a lot more on that in the upcoming weeks. All right, let's go to softball now. Let's talk real quick. We figured NORCO would be in the finals. They are. They're the top team in the nation. They defeated Huntington Beach 7-2. Great Oak, who we talked about earlier, because their boys team is in the finals against La Cañada. They defeated Gar 12-4. So now we have a NORCO Great Oak matchup, and that, no pun intended, that is going to be a great matchup, fellas, no doubt.
Well, we talked about NORCO far and away the best team in the division. They've gotten to the finals now, so now it's right in front of them to make history. That we mentioned the undefeated season is off the board. Santiago got them a little while back in that one league game, but still, this might be one of the top, and it probably is one of the top softball teams to ever come through Southern California. And if they finish this championship off, they certainly will take their place in history.
Yeah, and they're playing for a greater cause. They're not just playing for the Southern Section Championship. They're playing for that mythical national championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to win that national title. It's right there for them.
Yep.
They'll be fired up. They know it's a championship game. It's all on the line. You got to like NORCO. Yeah. NORCO's great.
All right, Division II, CYPRESS defeated El Medina 2-1, and then it was South defeating Roosevelt 3-2. CYPRESS taking on South now in the finals, and we also have CYPRESS boys in the finals in baseball. So they have the softball, and what do they call it? The bifecta, whatever you want to call it. When you have two teams from the same school in there.
Right. You know, it's
they're in there.
Duo effect.
Dual factor, whatever,
the daily double. I don't know.
That's good too. I like that.
Where's Eric Sonheimer when we need him for a horse racing synonym there? But anyways, CYPRESS and South. I don't know who's going to win this ball game. It's a coin toss at this point to me.
I like CYPRESS here. I think CYPRESS is again it's the hot team coming in. But South Torrance, that Torrance area is another area we talk about.
Man.
Softball, man, a lot of great softball played in the Torrance area. And it's funny how these little hotbeds kind of pop up around, and you get such great certain sports really get good for a while in an area. And Torrance is another one where the softball's really been good for a long time.
Yep. All right, Division 3 now. Crescenta Valley defeated Diamond Ranch 3-2. West Ranch 9-4 over Wilson, setting up Crescenta Valley and West Ranch, fellas. Crescenta Valley way up there in the hills of near Glendale, and man, they got to come all the way down to play West. What do you got to say about that game, Randy? You seem to be hip on what's going on at West Ranch.
Well, West Ranch has got a great baseball program. Their softball team's coming along. It's just a program building. And you're in Santa Clarita. It's a very tight community. There's dollars there for that program. And whenever they're involved, you know that West Ranch is going to be competitive in any sport. Their football program's improved. Their baseball program is terrific,
Absolutely.
even though they got knocked out, and their softball program is very good as well. Just a very tight, solid community that loves their team.
Yeah.
So West Ranch, Crescenta Valley, man, you got any thoughts on that one? Because I don't.
I don't really. These are all basic picket games after you get past NORCO. I mean,
there's just so many teams.
Yeah,
man. It's impossible.
And there's
to
so
game.
many divisions.
They're all
too.
good.
Without TV coverage
all really
to
good.
run it, it's hard to check it out. Okay, Division 4, El Segundo defeated Sultana 7-2. Godinez 5-0 over Culver City. El Segundo and Godinez, fellas. El Segundo's a tiny town.
You know the thing about Godinez, and this is a school that has quietly become probably the top school in Santa Ana as far as athletics goes.
Wow.
Their football team, their basketball team, they've done really well across the board now. So now you hear softball. I think Godinez in the city of Santa Ana has really become that top athletic powerhouse
And
now.
that says a lot because Santa
It's
Ana
not
has
an old
a
school.
lot of
Oh, absolutely.
schools in it
And
in
this
that
is a newer
district.
school too. This is
Yeah.
not a very old school whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Santa Ana, there's a lot of history in the city of Santa Ana, but this really has become a great little hotbed for talent here.
Like to see their transfer list, right? Yeah, I don't mind. I'm going to go to the new school too, man. I'm not capping on anybody there. Okay, Division 5, Torrance again 13, Redondo 2, Louisville or Louisville, all right, or Big Lou, 3-0 over Whittier Christian, Bob. Torrance and Louisville in the finals.
Well, I know you're breaking some news
Well,
here.
this came off Twitter.
Bob knows something about Louisville. He wants to tell you about it.
This came off Twitter yesterday. Our good friend Aram Talegian there, the San Gabriel Valley, who is in tune with a lot of things there. Grace Luderer, who was the big starting pitcher for Louisville, right? Pitched yesterday, is apparently the granddaughter of Vince Scully. Nobody knew that,
kidding.
right? That was,
How could we?
So Vinny could be at that game.
I was just scrolling through Twitter and I went, wait a minute, this is, Vinny could be there. Of course, he's going to come watch his granddaughter play.
Sure he
Of
will.
course he is.
He might even call the game.
Why not?
Out of retirement to call
How
his
great would
granddaughter.
that be?
That would be spectacular.
would be.
What's your pronunciation on this, Bob? What is it?
It's
Louisville, Louisville.
It's Louisville.
Big Lou?
It's not Louisville. Nobody said it's even hard to say. Makes your mouth hurt to say Louisville. That doesn't exist. It's Louisville.
Louisville.
I call it Louisville too. but
Louisville.
I always get corrected by people from back here. I think they speak the King's English or something. You know what I mean?
People think they're.
All right. Well, either way, it's Torrance, Louisville. I think we have highlights of this game, by the way. I think.
That's right.
How did you find that game? Of all places. Louisville. He wanted to go to say he really been to Louisville.
Wait, Larry.
Thought he's going to sign.
He wanted to make sure of the pronunciation. So
All
he
right,
went
take a
there.
look at some of the highlights. It was a tight ball game until the 5th. And then Louisville, or Louisville capitalized on errors and timely hitting. 3 runs later, it's done. And they defeat Whittier Christian, guys.
Was Vinny out there yesterday? Did you see Vinny at all? No, Vinny was not there yesterday. Okay, he's waiting for the championship.
How would he know he wasn't looking?
Oh, that's
But
true.
Ron Say was out at the Orange Lutheran Harvard-Westlake game,
Really?
just as a spectator watching good baseball, the former Dodger. No, just out there watching the game.
All right, guys, let's take a look at Division 6 now. And this is the game I was talking about, Bob. Santiago of Garden Grove. Let's not get it mixed up with Santiago Corona,
Right. Don't
like
forget-
a lot of people do around here.
There are two.
But anyway, Santiago of Garden Grove, 24 runs in a game, dude, in a semifinal. Are you kidding me? Randy, you've called a lot of these things. Have you ever seen 24-1 in a semifinal contest?
Not in softball.
Not in
I mentioned
softball.
earlier in baseball, I saw Simi Valley put up 29 runs in a baseball game. I'm hard pressed. I don't know that I've ever seen a softball game where a team got to 20. 24
Crazy,
is big
Randy.
time. Yeah.
24 in the semifinal just blows my mind. They defeated Whittier Christian. All right, but Santiago's going to take out NORDHOFF, who defeated Anaheim 3-0. NORDHOFF is a tiny little school, man. There's probably 80 kids in that school. Anaheim's a big old school built in 1899, a lot of history, and they lose 3-0 to NORDHOFF. Guys, like I said, NORDHOFF is really in a town that small. In Ojai.
Ojai is
Ojai,
beautiful.
yeah, it is
though.
beautiful.
Near Santa
Yeah.
Barbara, just absolutely gorgeous.
Nice place to live.
Yep.
Oh,
They got two high
plush.
schools, NORDHOFF High and Villanova, and that's about it out there. And they don't build. It's just an old town. Division 7, Western Christian 7-0 over La Quinta. Westridge 6, Mayfield 4, bringing up a Western Christian Westridge matchup, fellas. That's all I could say. All right, haven't seen either one of them play. I do not have an opinion on that game. Bob, I know you know everything about them.
That's right.
What do you got?
I'm going to take the team that starts with a W. Thank
All
you.
right, there you go. All right.
Coin flip.
And that pretty much gives you your softball finalists right now. It's been a long season, man. We've had a lot of fun. I just wish we can get more of these games on the tube so we could see a lot more of these young ladies play. Randy, you got city section stuff? Go.
Let's start with volleyball. We'll get to softball and baseball too, but in the volleyball, you got to start with D1. That was Palisades, no shock, 4 sets over El Camino Real. Akil Tangator with 18 kills. That's 3 in a row now for the Dolphins in the highest division. It's a foregone conclusion. They have a great chance to win the regional. They've already won a regional state match since winning the city, and they knocked off El Camino, which was the number 2 seed. That's 16 titles over the years for Pali in boys volleyball. The biggest story might have been, that was the open division in D1 with Carson. Carson wins 3-1 over Venice. That's not the story. The story is the coach. Move over Al Skates. Move over Marv Dunphy.
Oh,
when
come
you're
on.
talking volleyball,
Okay. Slide over.
Skates
Skate
and
over,
Dunphy?
Marv Skate.
Those are legends.
Equinox. Remember the name? Gerald Equinox. Earlier in the year, in the fall, 2018, he wins the girls' city title at San Pedro. He moves over to another Marine League school at Carson and wins the boys' title against
him,
Venice.
man.
Has that ever been
That's
done?
real- that's a
Now,
real
has that ever
coach.
been done?
I don't
That's a real
think so.
coach.
Right, I
In the
can't-
same league,
Right.
winning the same sport with the boys and the girls, winning the city title,
Unbelievable.
that's big time.
That's a good volleyball coach right
That
there.
dude's a guru right there. That's the
Right.
definition of
That's
a guru.
good.
That's
That's
a
good
guru.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Equinox, the new #1 coach.
It's like kind of like Harvey Catani in a way, in a sense.
Yeah, but in the
Big
same
school, small
season.
school. I know.
both.
I know.
Great.
That's amazing. I give it to you, man.
Jordan over Verdugo Hills. That was the Division II match, also 3-1. Verdugo won the first set. Jordan came back to win the next 3. 6th title for the Bulldogs. Terrific program. They have a great young coach in Medina. He did a great job there, and tremendous victory for the Jordan Bulldogs. Cesar Medina, the head coach there, with the great win there as the head coach, rallying his team. He was a great player. In fact, they beat Verdugo when Medina was on the team back in 2011 and 2012. He was a great player for the
I was gonna
Bulldogs.
say, I remember Medina being one of those being the top player back then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
now
great
he's
jump
coaching there.
serve. Yeah, he's a tremendous
great is
young
that?
coach. He's young and he's talented.
I was
Yeah.
thinking of Funky Cold Medina. I guess we're not thinking of the same guy, are we?
No, not at all.
All right, just checking.
Division
Never know.
3,
Never
Vaughan
know.
over Roosevelt 3-1. That's the first title for the White Tigers. Vaughan, a relatively new school. Division 4, Lincoln wins its 2nd title in 3 years, 3-1 over Central City Value. Their head coach, Edwin Yao, retiring at 32. He's won 2 titles in 3 years. Time to go and take a little vacation. He's retiring now. Edwin has 2 titles. Take it easy, 32,
All right.
relax.
In a few years, when I turn 32, I'll retire.
Yeah,
too.
you
All
too
right.
can retire. And in Division 5, Mesas, which is Maywood CES, beats Fulton Prep. They won it 3 straight games. Elias Gomez, the former great coach at Elizabeth, now at Maywood, turns that program around. They win the city title in the Division 5. And Elias has won 13 city titles with boys and girls, most of those obviously at Elizabeth.
Now, that guy that retired at 32, like, do you think he's going to
Edwin Yao?
retire? Is he going to, like, pick up a pension already from the district?
I
He's
don't-
only
I don't
gonna
know.
Get, like,
I mean,
7 or
he's-
8 years. That ain't very much.
He's won 2 titles.
I mean,
He's good to go.
I would
it.
hang out for another 5 or 10 and pick up
Guess
some
he
big
said, "I'm
bucks. in
done."
my
All right,
opinion.
let's
You know what I'm
quickly look at these baseball seedings.
right.
San Pedro, number 1 seed. Of course, the baseball tournament in the city's a week later. Their finals are at Dodger Stadium on the 25th. San Pedro gets the number 1 seed over El Camino, followed by Palisades and Poly. The committee moved up to number 4. Don't always agree with that. I really think El Camino is the best team, but they have them seeded number 2, and I think the Conquistadors are the team to beat. In Division 1, that's the open division. Division 1, Narbonne, Marshall, which has played great baseball in the Northern League, Banning, and then the number 4 team, can't even
Taft.
read the writing, is Taft. Taft's interesting. Taft was 0-10 in the West Valley. 0-10, and they're the number 4 seed, but that's the West Valley, which is the best league. Division 3, Southgate, Torres, Valley Academy, and Southeast. And in Division 3, Maywood, CES, the same team that won the volleyball in D3. Port of LA, which has a tremendous program. Vaughan, they're back. And Triumph Charter, they're the top 4 teams in Division 3. And
Bob,
before I go, I got one more thing.
Well, wait a minute, Bob. That Division 2 Marshall is actually Marshall, LA, not Marshall, Pasadena.
Right,
Because
thank
you had a
you.
problem with the
You know,
Marshalls.
Yeah, this
Well,
is the
geographic.
Bears.
We don't wanna-
These are they won like 25 straight Northern
That's what
League
I was
games.
trying to
He's
make
got
sure,
it.
because I
He's
know
got
the
it.
Marshall from the city section.
Yeah,
I
the Bears.
wasn't-
All right.
I didn't know
We
the
got
Marshall
Marshall.
from the southern section.
25 straight in the Northern League. I think actually they
Unreal.
are the team to beat. Now let's turn our attention to softball. Chatsworth, the defending champ, they get ousted in the semifinals. They lose, bumped off 5-0, losing to El Camino Real, and they're going to play Granada Hills, which in 8 innings defeated Kennedy, so it's a West Valley League matchup. The interesting thing here is Chatsworth was out their star pitcher, Ava Justman, who was thrown out of the game in the quarters that they won, not allowed to play and game the next one out, which is the semifinals.
For dirty play,
Malicious
Randy.
intent on a ball hit the
Dirty
first
play.
baseman. She ran into the first baseman.
I think this is an outrageous over jurisdiction, over what
It was
we
a reach.
would say.
Overreaction.
Yeah.
Big
It was an
reach. Thank
overreaction.
you. Overreaction is the word I was looking for.
I say it tongue in cheek as a joke.
Ridiculous.
Somebody's getting paid. All right, she's out.
Ridiculous. To throw a kid out of a game when you know that means that she's going to miss the next game.
Right.
Come on.
That's terrible.
Final note,
Come
El
on.
Camino and Granada played twice during the year. ECR beat them 13-1 and 7-1. They outscored them 20-2.
Wow.
ECR is now the favorite in
Amazing.
softball.
All
Saturday.
right, Randy. Thanks a bunch, man. I'd like to thank everybody today. We're out of time. I'd like to remind everybody the SoCal Bowl featuring Los Angeles versus Orange County, Friday night, June 7th, Pioneer Titan Stadium in Whittier. Be there. On behalf of Randy Roosevelt, Bob Gibson, Rich Estrella, so long here from your friends at the SoCal Prep Report. See you from Dodger Stadium next week.
Woo!
The first annual SoCal Prep Bowl, featuring all-star teams from Los Angeles versus Orange County, is slated for Friday night, June 7th at the new Titan Stadium on the Pioneer High School campus in Whittier. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. This is the former 605 All-Star Football Classic, which had a 50-year history. Instead of the 605 freeway being used as a dividing line between east and west, the county line will be the border. That's the SoCal Prep Bowl, sponsored by the U.S. Navy, Friday evening, June 7th, at the new Titan Stadium on the Pioneer High School campus, located on the corner of the 605 freeway and Slauson Avenue in Whittier. It's the last football game of the season. Be there to see all the action and support your team. That's the SoCal Prep Bowl. Don't miss it.